All right, so the Rockets won last night against OKC. Were you guys concerned about their early season struggles? I mean, they started 0-3. Like, do you guys still feel the same about the Rockets? They haven't looked good at all.
Yeah, see, this is my thing when it comes to NBA seasons because, for one, they're already not playing a lot of minutes and a lot of time during preseason. It's kind of similar to football almost, where they kind of dedicate to more the guys that's trying out, the rookies, the whatever, the second year players or whatever, the guys that's from the D League trying to get in on the roster. With the NBA season, this first month, probably going into December to Christmas, it's kind of still an extension of preseason to me, I think, because players are still trying to still get their rhythm. They still trying to get going. Now, you're going to have some players like Stephen Curry and Russell Westbrook, who's, Kevin Durant, players like them, they're going to come out, swinging because that's just who they are. But just for the most part, I think a lot of players, man, and we've seen it before where like, November, they don't really have a good November month in December, but then come January, February, it's like, holy crap, where did this player come from? Oh, why wasn't he doing this in the first quarter of the season? So I think for me, I can't really judge a team too much, especially in the month of November, because teams are kind of getting their stride. You got players that you got picked up during the offseason that's trying to get acclimated in your system and everything. So exactly. I don't know. It's a little weird for me when I'm watching the NBA season by it being a longer season. It's like, these first couple of months, I just kind of take it with a grain of salt and just see like, okay, this dude got to get his mojo back or whatever. So I don't know.
You know what?
I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried with the Rockets like start. I wasn't like, oh my god, like they look awful and all that stuff. So it's just same thing with Memphis. Memphis, they starting off horrible like right now, but I think. They're a grind out type of team, so I think they'll get it together, man. We seen the Spurs teams that went deep in the playoffs that started off, by January they was like a 7th seed in the playoffs, but then they make a run, to going towards April. So, I just take it as a grain of salt, man. Some teams just turn it up as it gets towards the middle in the end of the season.
And I think it's the type of team that Houston is as well. I think B hit it with, getting new players acclimated. You're talking about instilling a point guard that needs the rock as well and is also a playmaker. And he's just now finding his groove with one of the leading scorers in the NBA that also needs the rock a lot. So that dynamic still needs to work out its kinks. We're only 3 games in. And also the other thing is they're a jump shooting team. You know what I'm saying? And unlike Golden State, they don't have like 2 of the top 10 probably greatest shooters of all time. They just don't have that. But they are a 3-point shooting team. They just haven't found their groove. And even against Miami, because I was watching that game where they went 9 for 20 in the first half from 3, which is almost 50%. And then the second half, they went like 0 for 14 at one point. So, Houston, I don't understand, but they're one of those teams that take sporadic runs, good and bad. You know what I'm saying? Like they can get ice cold from the field. So they just got to figure it out. And I think that having Ty Lawson there, eventually they're not going to go through those stretches because he can play make, and it's not just on James Harden. And you saw that last night against OKC. I think he had a double-double. I think he had like 11 or 12 assists and I think like 16 or 18 points, which is a solid stat line. And I think that if he can play make and be aggressive, that just gives him another weapon. And they got to get Dwight involved a little bit more too. But what I see early on, and I think Houston needs to make a move, is they're extremely thin after Dwight goes to the bench. They're small. They are not big. They don't have any depth. And I think they need to address that if they think that they're going to go pretty far in these playoffs.
Do you think it's just taking, Harden some time to adjust to not having the ball as much, like bringing the ball up and stuff like that?
No, because he's still dominated the rock. He still gets every shot he wants. The offense still goes through him. I just think is understanding how to play with certain guys, like picking and choosing, understanding when he likes it. You know what I'm saying? As a point guard, that's like the main thing you need to figure out, especially with your leading scorer, how he likes to score the rock and picking and choosing when you can attack and create and do different things like that. So it's just a rhythm thing, a vibe type of thing that it'll work itself out. They're 2 guys that can ball. You know what I'm saying? It's not like one guy's a scrub, one guy is nah. Both of those guys can ball, but it takes time. It takes a little bit of time. They're just gonna need it. But I think they'll work it out.
Do you guys think this is Harden's team and then it's just everybody else? Like when I watched the Rockets play, and you touched on it earlier, it doesn't even seem like Howard's like a go-to guy anymore.
But he never really has been, though. He never has been.
Orlando.
Huh?
They give him the rock in Orlando.
He was, because he had nothing but three-point shooters around. Now he has a guy that can dominate the rock and create. He never played with nobody like that. This is the best offensive person that Dwight Howard's ever played with. And, you know, I get it, but Dwight has never been a dominant offensive force. That's why I said I don't understand why that Cleveland team, when he was in Orlando, they double-teamed him. Foul him and make him make free throws. And by the way, he has improved his free throw shooting, and I think he's going to shoot a pretty decent percentage this year. All he needed was to add some arc, and he did that. So I heard it here first.
Yeah, I saw he had two last night.
Two big ones.
He got him with confidence.